All right, so this should be a relatively short video. This is basically just going to be people saying things out in the open that would normally just be, implied in the background kind of deal. But we do have a video to react to today, and we have a couple of different tweets about, again, people letting the cat out of the bag. It wasn't exactly a secret cat out of the bag, but it's still good to have people actually admit that this is the case, right? So the Skybrowse community and the auxiliary AI communities, VTubers who actually are training themselves with AI, right, are having a bit of an issue where a number of us, have gotten into contact with established VTubers that have admitted, not publicly, but in DMs, to several of us that they can't be associated with anyone who works with AI because their artist is effectively blackmailing them. And this actually kind of reminds me of the Powder situation. So before we get into that, let's go and see some of these tweets that are, indicative of this particular behavior and why I think this is just objectively shitty behavior, and that I kind of hope that any artist who does this loses their customers personally, but okay. So here we go. So let's start here. So this begins with this whole fiasco right here where, let's see, wanted to jump onto this, such a cute idea, VTuber bloop versus IRL. I think that this VTuber versus IRL thing is a little dumb, but at least it's through an AI filter, so it's like it's not really her face. You couldn't identify her from this particular image. It's silly. I would never participate in this personally because I like my privacy. But anyway, all right, not gonna lie, wish I could jump on this trend. Seems pretty cool and in spirit of what I plan to do, though even if I had my designs, I still couldn't do the unveiling plans, lol. That being said, gonna take this jealousy to push me forwards to try to nail down an artist for it by the end of the month. If not, I'll consider using AI to prompt it into existence, to start and stick to the adage of make it exist first, improve it later. Since I'll still want human hands on the model for VTubing, I just don't want to bog myself down to trying to get everything perfect, that I don't get the ball rolling at all. So long story short, this actually pretty well summarizes the fact that like a lot of people who do AI art also do art, or that people who use AI generators also still try to commission when they can human art generators, right? So the two are not mutually exclusive. But let's go down here to this comment. This is where one of the examples of someone giving away the grift, right? Just saying, a lot of VTubers and also artists will blacklist you if they see that you use AI. Don't give into a trend like that. Instead, try using PicCrew. It's a site which got already several times used for trends like this, and everything there is made by artists. So the first part is the part we're going to pay attention to. A lot of VTubers and also artists will blacklist you if they see you using AI. Now, again, I have it on good authority from people who've had contact with established VTubers who have human artists that they don't, a number of these people actually don't oppose AI. In fact, they like AI art, especially the good ones, not like the cheap shit, but like the actual time invested prompts that create beautiful works of art, like the Skybrowse stuff, right? Like the Louisverse stuff, right? Like fucking Nailith's stuff. If you haven't checked any of these three people out, which it would be kind of hard to imagine you haven't checked out Skybrowse if you've been watching my channel. But if you haven't checked out Louisverse or Nailith, really suggest them as AI content creators as well. They actually are really good at what they do. But yeah, so the reason why, what I was getting at is there are a number of VTubers who are afraid to really support people practicing with AI, even just AI fan art. Like, they have no problem with the fan art itself, but they have to pretend as if they do because their artists are actually blackmailing them to receive the permissions from their model. Now, I don't know why They haven't, you know, established that they've bought the right to use the model, and therefore can't tell the artist to go fuck themselves if they try to do something like that, like Powder rightly did. But, you know, I haven't seen their contract, and some of these people don't live in the United States. They don't have the same contract laws, so, you know, it's a very variable and contentious issue, and we, again, see the tyranny of copyright, right? Or at least copyright abuse. It's not really copyright. But anyway, so continuing on. And I agree with this right here. If they're willing to block over using AI for quick things, fuck them. I don't deal with elitists. AI is a tool, simple as. It's not as good as hand-drawn art, but it's great for those on a budget. And here's another thing. This is the thing that's going to put artists out of business, is not actually negotiating with the market, right? And overvaluing work that is not actually, you know, overvaluing the work with respect to the customer, right? There are ways to make money as an artist, but you have to actually negotiate the prices and actually find a stable range for you to actually, where you can actually produce and profit while also not, you know, again, trying to swindle your fucking, you know, customer base out of everything they have. I've actually commissioned art before from online artists. They charge way too fucking much, right? I'm just saying. So I know that from firsthand experience. I would fucking never, first of all, I wouldn't do commission work in the first place because I'm a lazy bastard. I can do it, but I'm not terribly disciplined. But I would never charge nearly fucking as much for some of the stuff that I've actually commissioned for. It's fucking absurd. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, art is indeed a luxury. Not everyone can afford it. Or if there's time constraints, so AI can be handy at times. This is a good point. I'm indifferent towards AI, but blacklisting just because someone used AI for a trend is wild. And yes, it is completely fucking disproportionate to threaten someone for, you know, again, interacting with someone who uses AI. Again, there's been more than one VTuber that the AI VTubers have contacted that seem to actually be okay with AI. They just can't be openly okay with it, again, because they're artists in their community with, you know, from whom they're making money. They're not sure that they're okay. Well, they're not sure that the audience would be okay with it, but they know for a fact the artists themselves would fucking blackmail them and stab them in the back and just try and make a fit about it and try to revoke their rights again, like the Powder situation from 2 months ago, right? So, yeah, it is wild. Like, if you want to use AI for quick piece or something, that's fine, with the caveat that you disclose. I heavily disagree with people trying to pass AI art off as their own whole work. This is, again, another thing that I think is a fair point right here. This is just, I'm going to go through most of these conversations. I think that this is a good, you know, caveat. You should be clear about whether something is AI or whether something is handmade, right? Because, again, you can learn to draw and learn to prompt. The two are not exclusive to each other. And you should be clear whether something is drawn or prompted, or if it's a mix between the two. Because a lot of these AI content creators in the VTubing sphere actually do draw. They actually do have their own art, which they then feed into the AI to either train or to augment in some way, to like play with it. So again, that would be a case of like, again, something you drew becoming something you prompted. So yeah, let's go on to the next one where the cat is out of the bag, right? So they're responding to this conversation. Oh, that's not it. Fucking disappointed face. To bitches be like, that's AI, by the way. Which, I mean, thanks for the engagement, Nines. Absolutely fucking based, to be perfectly honest. Absolutely based. I have a great deal of respect for Nines. She definitely took the monetize your haters advice from someone, and damn is she not actually making damn is she not benefiting from it. She's actually getting subs from these engagements. So anyway, just imagine where the VTuber, this is from Rezi Orenji. Just imagine where the VTuber community would be right now if we just stopped giving blue checks like this time of day. Like, just cold turkey ignored all their public provocations while leaving the room to mock them privately in favor of building a tide that raises all boats. First of all, this is not going to happen because this right here, with, again, the Ray malware, is itself engagement bait. She is fishing for engagement. So talking about engagement bait, most of the reactions to Nines doing this is itself engagement bait. Like they're interacting with the engagement bait by engagement baiting. This is very common among this stuff. Anyway, so like, as infuriating as indie VTubers using AI is at a fundamental level, the proper response here should be for us to circle wagons and quietly blacklist her on all comm sites. So this is basically, like, again, making an archive of everyone who actually uses AI to then, again, spread around so that they become blacklisted from the industry as a customer capable of providing commissions. Because hypothetically speaking, right, what if Nines, even though she does do AI, wanted to commission an artist? Well, the artist doesn't have to work with them, but if an artist wants, for example, again, let's say that these VTuber models cost like $10,000, right? I know the Nanolist ones could cost like $10,000. Let's say Nines, hypothetically speaking, is willing to drop $10,000 for a handmade, human handmade VTuber model. Well, if that artist takes the deal, a lot of these people, as we can see in some of these admissions, will try to blacklist the artist who works with the AI, appreciative VTuber from, again, their community as well by dragging their name through the mud. You'll see this happen all the time. Artists do try to drag each other quite often. Anyway, so jumping on her to say AI bad only gives her the attention she wants. Prune your own garden. I mean, that, to an extent, it's not bad advice right here. Don't engage with engagement bait. That's like, if you really don't want to like boost them, don't engage with engagement bait. But a lot of these people don't have the self-control to not do that. But yeah, again, this is again the advice to circle the wagon, quietly blacklist her on all comm sites. So again, just remove her ability to have access to this particular industry, which indicates again, how are you going to blacklist her on all comm sites unless you're going to be able to coerce people to not work with her, right? So let's go on to the next one. So this one is pause. So VTubing is one of those few places where it's socially acceptable to entrap and hold someone hostage. It's wild to me, and it's wild to many people outside the scenes. Finding a rigger is like hiring someone. You have to ask them about where they see themselves in 5 years from now and thoroughly vet their background on top of a contract protecting you from their bullshit. At the stage I'm at, from being burned several times and having to spend thousands of dollars, I'm not sure I'm ready to commit to 2D without the rig file anymore. VTubing for me is a job I see myself doing for years. Many riggers I speak to have absolutely no idea what they will have for breakfast tomorrow, let alone how they plan to handle a client who wants to work with them long term. Keeping up to date with the industry is another problematic aspect, where sometimes technology advances faster. Having people lie about their capabilities just to secure their bag and deliver a subpar product is criminal. Yeah, and this is another thing that happens all the fucking time. People just like lying about what they're able to do, and then trying to secure some kind of contractual agreement from it. Let's see. Let's not even get into the whole fiasco of teehee, I retroactively changed my TOS bullshit. The oopsie, I leaked private conversations and plans of clients to my friends, and other high school level BS. I don't think I've ever seen an industry support this level of immaturity from people. You've never seen the mainstream art community. I've worked with corporations. This baffles me. It's not normal. She is right. It is not fucking normal. But yeah, again, Powder's not the only one who's had to deal with this. The retroactively changed TOS thing. You cannot retroactively change TOS. That is, if you have a contractual agreement with someone, you cannot just retroactively, unilaterally change the agreement. Powder, again, was absolutely right to tell the artists who try to do that to go fuck themselves, to be perfectly honest. Shit pisses me off. Anyway. Most likely, why I prefer 3D right now. The industry isn't full of people guarding their treasures like Loot Goblin. Refusing to Okay, that was actually the thing, not me. Refusing to share techniques, refusing to work on someone else's work, refusing to sell your file, refusing the right to recoup your investment by selling it if exiting the scene, etc., etc. People in 3D actually work together to ensure projects turn out great. Why is 2D such a hassle? I'm tired. Yeah, people will tell me that that art is a luxury, and if I don't like it, I should just not be here, or just do it myself. For merely pointing out flaws in the system, or things that do not make sense and do not fly anywhere outside the sphere. To end on a positive, I am grateful to the wonderful people I've worked with who took the time to be professional, respect deadlines, respect me as a client, and have a plan for the future work I set in place. Answer questions, etc. You make this industry better for being a part of it and give me hope for the future despite it all. So, yeah, this is a this is more common of a problem than people think. So let's go here. This is Itami, who went on the warpath recently, and it was really funny to see. She said it best. Sadly, most people who buy their models don't know anything about this. They just want a cute model. VGen does nothing to protect them from shady practices, and sometimes they can get screwed. This is true. So, not only with models and riggers, also those VGen artists that do art commissions and they put you on a blacklist if you interact with AI are problematic or reclaim their client rights. They're right here. The are problematic thing was the thing that got Powder into a tizzy with, again, her, artist. Was oh yeah, you're problematic. I don't want to really work with you anymore. Bitch, you signed a contract to let that I am able to use this for a certain amount of time. It is getting used. If you don't like it, maybe you should have thought about the contract more, right? Or reclaim their rights. Yeah. So many cases of small VTubers that have fear of speak because the VGen mafia. Again, this is what I'm referring to. The VGen mafia. Again, the whole idea that, like, not only will people try to fuck with you, because they're the VTuber mama, right? And as if mothers can't be fucking, or artists can't be evil human beings themselves, right? But, then they'll try to mess with your ability to even interface with this particular industry. It is very cliquey, very, again, mafia-like, right? So, let's go here. Although this person's clearly not in support of it. He just is making note of the fact that this happens, right? So, reminder, VTuber blacklist, this is from Sick-Chan Cuddles. Reminder, VTuber blacklist exist and artist blacklist accounts to help keep your community safe and not go through scammy AI comms. Please check out these accounts. I'm not chronically online to know what people are talking about. Well, now you know where to go look. So, yeah, again, just pointing out, another person pointing out that we have VTuber blacklists and artist blacklists. So again, people actively trying to interfere with part of it is sometimes, to an extent, it's also just like obviously what would you call it, freedom of association. If you don't want to associate with someone, that's one thing, right? But you're gonna tell me that these blacklists are free of coercion, that, like, if you're okay with associating as an artist with a problematic VTuber, that's not gonna necessarily impede your ability to interface with the market, right? That people aren't gonna maybe hold that over your head and try to blackmail you with that, right? Or try to destroy your reputation for doing that. Same thing with the again the VTuber blacklists, right? So yeah, there's no comments on this one, but it was just a thing that popped up in my feed, right? So another one. So this one goes all the way up here. Sometimes you just got to feel bad for live 2D artists because one day they accept a commission and a few months later they're forever tied to the VTuber who told the kid to off themselves. This is very obviously hyperbolic, but what they're talking about is, like, again, the problematic VTuber, right? So then we have Mikan Katabasis say, some live 2D artists add a clause to the contract which states that certain behaviors may restrict their model usage. For example, my mama wrote that I was allowed to do not safe for work, but am disallowed from copyrighted outfits, Sanrio, etc., and politically inflammatory statements. Well, at least they ironed this out at the beginning, to be perfectly honest, right? But in what way is that enforceable? As I understand it, with models, you are just given files upon purchase. At that point, it is a product, and as such, there is no real enforceable way for them to stop you from doing something legal with your own product. I believe if you're JP, they could potentially go after you legally, but the real problem is for VTubers whose mamas may attempt to revoke model rights. There we go again. This is the thing that happened with Powder. Didn't work with Powder, but they tried it. You could face public backlash for continuing to use the model in such a way if you're disallowed. And again, this is the public coercion thing. You could face public backlash for continuing to use the model, even if you're in the right. Right? Just saying, right? Let's see. Oh, shit. So let's continue on with this thread. But to be very blunt, that only works if the mama themselves and or other VTubers who signal boost said mama are as popular as the VTuber you are at that point trying to shame to get them to do what you want. If said VTuber built a brand off of being shameless, then what? To be honest, I don't know. All I know is that JP VTubing culture is highly values artist rights. If an artist claims their terms are being disrespected, it can cause social backlash for the tuber. This can also happen in the West if it's a beloved VTuber mama, right? Think about the whole nanolist situation, right? Some VTubers also want to maintain good relationship with mama for branding purposes, exclusivity, etc. See, I'm curious how copyright works for VTubers. As to me, you should be protected by law for exclusivity rights, not needing to maintain good standing with the person whom you purchased it from in order to get that. Here in the US, we have it codified in law that way. But then again, that's the key here, right? Is in the US. It's like they're not in, for example, JP or Korea or Germany or Spain or Mexico, right? Where in each of these countries, the copyright laws differ, sometimes very much so. So again, my purpose of like highlighting these is again to highlight that this is a well-known thing that we should be possibly keeping an eye on. If you see someone pointing out the VGen Mafia or pointing out again these blacklists, archive that, right? Because you gotta archive these things to again hold people to account when they try to what would you say, Darvo you and try to make you and try to gaslight you into thinking, oh wait, that's not actually happening. No, it is happening, right? It doesn't just happen in the VTubing sphere, it also happens in the mainstream artist sphere as well. But yeah, now since we're talking about again the possibility of rescinding model rights, let's go to the video for today. I actually wasn't planning on reacting to a video today. I was just gonna straight up just do Voop chat, which I will hop onto after I finish this commentary. But yeah, no, this just popped up in my feed earlier because in that conversation with someone that I had yesterday, someone let it out of the bag and then it seems deleted the post that they did that with. So I went and I tried to find other people just admitting the fact that, you know, as they are. So here we go.
Recall her model. We're going to do that today on Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. This is a fast facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. So we have our white-haired elf VTuber on Twitch. Over here, you see her, you know, in one outfit. We got the rice and the bananas. And over here, of course, a perhaps a controversial ice version. And now this may be some.
Okay, so I didn't know rice and bananas was actually a transitionary food for like infants as they were teething. I did not know that, right? I had never heard about that. So that was actually pretty interesting to find out about that. Also, I can't hear the banana rice thing without thinking about, again, that one Somali woman and Rivunami's video. Right? Oh my god, using banana rice in the lyrics like that was just absolutely inspired. But let's continue. Oh yeah, also the ice model is really good. I actually really like the ice model.
Fan art here, but certainly she's made some statements that are pro ice, pro feds, the little fed posting out there.
The friendly elf department is just really fucking funny. Just gonna say it. Oh, the Amelia model.
Only reason people should be upset with ICE is because they're not doing enough. They need to deport more people. They would have to deport like thousands of people every week in order to make a dent in the issues that we have right now. But that's not going to happen. So,
And of
To be fair, Powder is absolutely right. You cannot have a republic in the way that we have it and have open borders. It just does not fucking work, especially if you have birthright citizenship based on the land. That also just does not work. And I'm really hoping the Supreme Court fucking shoots down birthright citizenship based on land. Because anchor babyism is a horrifying incentive. But like, if you lived in a society as like the paleo, as like the paleo libertarians want, where all the land is privately owned, right? Then you wouldn't necessarily have this problem, because a lot of this is the problem of the commons, right? Since no one actually owns no one is therefore responsible for the communal living space, then again, there are all kinds of perverse incentives that come up from this. But if it actually belongs to someone and someone actually has a vested interest in keeping that space actually, safe and clean and usable for their own purposes, they're going to definitely be much more inclined to border security of their own property, right? So just putting that out there, the paleo libertarians have a really solid actual solution to this, which is increase the protection of private property, and I would say effectively homestead all this shit to American citizens, right? Homestead the border to American citizens so that it can all be privately owned land, and that private citizens can therefore use heavy gun diplomacy to guard the border. That's just my personal opinion, though.
course, that's something very controversial right now in light of things going on. We just covered the Renee Good shooting. There's a lot of other issues involving ICE in the United States. It's very controversial at this point. And that is indeed the VTubers' right to have opinions on what they want to have or not have. But apparently, according to the plaintiffs in this case, as we're going to call them, which is Kokoda over here on X, Chili's Kokoda, this is a 4-person team that offers customizable models, and they made the model for Powder. I believe she may be getting a new model that is not made by them, but at this point, I believe she's still using their model at this point. So
I would like to state, I don't know if these people are actually Japanese. I think they are. But the Japanese value harmony over basically all other things. So it is it's actually easier than people think to dupe Japanese artists who are naive to how America actually works into thinking that, again, a political streamer is going to somehow ruin their reputation in, again, an irrevocable way. It's not actually how that works, right? These people could work with Kirsha, Leaflet, Powder, and like they would get business from all kinds of other people who are coming into the VTuber sphere, right? They won't get business from people like Bao or Shy Lily, sure, but to be perfectly honest, they were never going to get that business anyway, right? They've already got an artist that they're going to patronage for. So, not exactly worth taking their opinion into consideration there, because again, they wouldn't be a potential customer in the first place. But yeah, so I do kind of feel bad for these people. They probably almost certainly got duped with thinking this was more severe than it actually was, and responded still like a bunch of retards as a result from that.
we have this issue where the Chalice team, which is 4 people, created the model for Powder. Powder made statements supporting ICE, and now, after they made those statements, Chalice wants to stop use the model and delete all previous material using it. So saying, hey, every stream that you have, anything that you've done, we need you to delete that. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, that is entirely unreasonable. That is entirely fucking unreasonable, especially that last one. Let's even just give the idea that, like, okay, hypothetically speaking, let's just grant that they can take the model away, right? What gives you the right to take away all prior content that she's made down, right? Literally delete the entirety of the backlog of her video account. That's unfucking reasonable, and anyone who pretends like it's not is lying out of their fucking ass, right? Imagine, right? Oof.
that's obviously huge for a VTuber because they're essentially having to go back and delete all of their content, which nobody's going to want to do, period. Right. So we're in a position where people are, coming out pro against, and I'm going to give you the law on this and what the way this actually should work out. So first of all, let's start with some statements. I'm going to read from the Shaliz team. So at first, they said, we merely provide the model and are not responsible for statements made by any individual users. The Shaliz team stands for peace. This statement, which is their original statement, I actually think the law stands behind. That's all you do as an artist. You provide the model and that's it. You're not responsible for anything they would do with that. Now, can I...
Yeah, but the left doesn't do that. The left operates through a guilt by association, mechanic, right? It's like, how dare you work with these people? Don't you know that they support ICE, right? It's like, how dare you have any kind of business relationship with these people? Don't you know that they support ICE? Don't you know that they're in violation of good thing, right? Don't you know they support bad thing? It really is that fucking dumb. But, oh, excuse me. But yeah, that beginning part right there, we merely provide the model and are not responsible for the statements made by any individual users. Yeah, because guess what? They just paid for a product. Now, granted, it seems like this is a leased product, right? You're paying basically not to own it, but to rent it, which is, or at least in many cases with VTuber assets, not all of them. Some of them are actually just like bought wholesale, and some of them seem to be rented. And I don't understand. I personally don't understand why you would rent VTuber equipment, right? I already have a rigger in. I already have a rigger in mind for when I get the money, and I can tell you right now, it's like I'm buying the IP from that for that, right? And not that I think that they would like fight me on any of this stuff anyway, right? And that's part of the reason why I picked that particular option. But yeah, so the Khali's team stands for peace, and it's like, no, that's just virtue signaling. It's like, oh yeah, we don't support bad idea, we support good idea. Do you even know what the conflict is about? No, but that's kind of the point, is they're not trying to get involved in the conflict. They're trying to preserve some degree of harmony, and peace is closer to harmony than conflict, right?
Say, would a artist perhaps be in a situation they wouldn't want to sell to somebody because their political positions? That's fine. But the point at which you do that, the proper point, and the point at which Shaliz should have really looked into, is before you sell the model. So for example, if you were a Christian artist and you didn't want to sell to a demon VTuber that was a VTubing Moloch or some other Beelzebub, whatever, some other, demon VTuber, and you felt that violated your faith, right? Although I think demon VTubers are cute. So, and I said as a Christian. But that said, let's say...
Chat reflects the streamer, chat. Also, I guess we're getting a little bit of insight into the man's type, right?
You didn't want to do that, right? You don't have to do that. But the point at which you don't sell is before you make the sell, before you make the purchase agreement. Once you've made that agreement, it's kind of done unless you've tried to structure it in some weird other way, which typically is not going to work out for you. And we'll...
Yeah, because like if I bought the right to use a model, right, hypothetically speaking, and then someone decides, oh, you can't use that model anymore. Let's hypothetically give, it's like, okay, out of peace, even though I may be in the right on this issue, I'll just give up this particular model and go to someone else, right? Hypothetically speaking, are you going to refund me the money that I wasted, right? Because if I bought access for a particular period and then you come in and say you can't use it, but I didn't actually violate any rule in the contract, I just said, okay, yeah, if you don't want to work with me anymore, you don't have to, even though you have a contractual obligation, I would personally put an exit cost on that, right? It's like, you know what? Sure, you can have it back. You got to refund me this percentage of the money, given that I didn't actually get to you didn't live up to your end of the bargain, right? Yeah, if you won't even like pay me back for the fact that you broke the fucking contract, you can go fuck yourself. That's just my personal opinion. And yeah, Kirsha definitely has the right opinion where she's like in her contracts now with artists. She now has in the deal, the contracts with artists when she commissions them, she owns all of the copyright to the art that's being produced under the commission. So no fucking takebacks, right? But also, she has late fees for the artist if they don't communicate why the art is going to be late in a timely fashion. I'm like, thank God that Kirsha did this, is doing this, because I cannot tell you how many times I've had to talk with an artist that, either I'm commissioning or someone is talking to me about commissions. And the thing is like, it's the same fucking complaint every time. The art is taking longer than they promised, and they won't communicate to me in a timely fashion what the problem is, right? They're disrespecting my time as a customer. Oh my goodness. It's like, yeah, we all get it. Like, there's burnout, and then again, it's like, again, the art production is like one of the few jobs you can actually not do your job and still get paid, right? Oh my God. Or at least, in that thing. Well, to be fair though, they're not working hourly, they're working commission. So I guess technically, if you can like fudge the date for release, then yeah, sure, why the fuck not, right? But no, if you have a deadline to meet, you have a deadline to meet, right? Just that, it's that fucking simple. If you set out a date for the deadline, then you have a deadline set up. But yeah, so I have a lot of I have a lot of frustration with the art community on this particular issue, as you can tell.
Get into why. So they said this original one, and this, once again, we would have no legal problems if they stood by their original statement here. However, they went and made another statement, and I'm going to read this because this is a
holy wall of text, Batman. What the fuck? I don't remember this. I watched this video like 2 months ago. I don't remember this part.
very interesting one. I know the font is a little small. A message from our Team Chili's to our community. First, for those that may not know us, Team Chili's is a 4-person independent creative team. We are not a company or a corporation. Well, first big problem there, you're not going to probably have the funds to do this. So I'm just calling it out right now. You're not a company or corporation. You probably don't have a lot of money. It's not really going to work out for you. Liz.
This is also one of the reasons why copyright is kind of really stupid as a legal system, right? Like, if you don't have any funds, you can't really defend your copyright. And two, if someone has bigger funds, then there is especially if it's wildly bigger funds, then there's a high statistical probability they could potentially fucking bankrupt you and force you to actually give up your attempts to enforce your copyright, right? So, just putting that out there.
Meta is a passion project we built from the ground up. It has now served over 1,400 creators, and we are generally grateful for every one of you. We want to take a moment to address some recent discussions and share where we stand. Our model is not a conventional digital product. It functions as your virtual identity, your face online. When viewers see your avatar, they naturally associate it with the creator behind the technology. This means that the way our model is used in a commercial context directly reflects on our brand, and more importantly, on the entire community of creators who share this ecosystem.
Yeah, if I heard any artist that I was trying to commission work from say that, I would fucking immediately discontinue any kind of operation with them. I'm like, nope, you're gonna stab me in the back. Just really that simple. It's like, nope, you're not professional. You're gonna stab me in the back. Go the fuck away.
Recently, we received feedback from multiple users expressing concern that a certain commercial content created with our model, that's Powder, was negatively affecting the community's perception and atmosphere. We take this feedback seriously. As the original...
This is basically the banks complaining about reputational risk, except this time it's from the VtuberMama complaining about reputational risk as a problem from Powder in this case.
Creators and rights holders, that's actually false. So I want to stop right there. They sold it. They no longer have the rights, right? So without any retention of rights, they would not have at all. And generally, that's not going to happen in a product context. So I want to stop that right there and just dispel that incorrect statement. We believe...
So yes, again, Powder was 100% correct when she told these people to go fuck themselves. Some of the VtuberMamas, from what I understand, though, do put clauses in their contracts about the ability to rescind the right to use the... So again, it's more like renting than it is payment. But I don't know how enforceable that actually is. That would have been interesting to see Legal Mindset talk about that. But then again, he'd probably need a case study for that to illustrate his point.
Our responsibility goes beyond simply selling a product. Them believing that responsibility, and this is me interjecting once again, them believing something doesn't make it true or legal. It's not true. We have an inherent obligation to protect the creative ecosystem. No, they don't. That all of our...
Yeah, again, that whole that's very narcissistic, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, we have an obligation to protect this creative ecosystem. It's like, who the fuck are you? Not to be mean here, but who the fuck are you, right? What do you mean protect this creative ecosystem? What exactly does that entail, right? How are you protecting the creative ecosystem by just not working with someone? Like yeah, it's like a self-aggrandizing language for like no reason.
Our users are a part of. This not about adding new rules after the fact, which they did. It is about upholding a principle that exists in any creative licensing relationship. It doesn't. Commercial use of someone's original work should not cause harm to the creator's brand or other fellow authorized users. That's not standard, and that's not something that is typically allows you to recall a product, right? That would be a brand relationship contract, something like with an advertiser. That would be different. They're not an advertiser. They don't have an ongoing relationship. We also want to be transparent.
I also want to highlight that this is actually very common, that like artists will make claims about the law that are just about the law and art and copyright that are just not fucking objectively true, right? And one of which is like, oh yeah, you can't really copyright AI art. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can copyright AI art. And eventually someone is going to poke the wrong bear, and that might be a pretty fun case to analyze in that particular case.
As a small independent team of 4, this is our first time navigating a situation like this. And we acknowledge that our initial communication could have been handled more carefully. We are a small team of 4, not a legal department. Clearly, they don't know the law. We're learning.
Maybe they should have talked to a lawyer before this particular situation, right? Maybe they should have actually talked to a lawyer before doing this. That's all I gotta say.
As we go, we appreciate your patience as we work to get this right. However, the core concern remains valid. Multiple users reached out to us with genuine concerns, and we have a responsibility to address them. No, you don't. And you don't have the right to address them. We also made aware that some of our authorized users have recently been receiving negative comments discouraging others from purchasing or using our model. If I were somebody that saw you were trying to do this, I would not buy from you either. That's very, very common. If I saw them trying to claw back models based on free speech, that would be a problem. We want to
yeah, because it's one, highly unprofessional, right? 2, it carries again the risk of reputational damage because it's like again there's this overvaluation of the artist as some kind of fucking enlightened like caste in the VTuber community just because they make the models, right? Even though like you could just also hire right-wing artists to make the models. They don't have to be left-wing artists to overvalue themselves, right? But also in general, it's more than the art. The art does help, but still, you as a person are carrying the character, right? You're carrying the actual channel. You could change the model, and normally speaking, most times it probably would work, especially if there was a good reason to change the model, such as this, right? We have an issue with. I'm not going to actually use that example, but. Yeah, no, it does make sense again that like someone wouldn't want to do business with someone who does this, right? It's like I literally imagine buying from someone a physical object. No clause in there like in fucking Ferrari where it's like, oh yeah, you don't actually own this thing, you actually are just renting it. It's like, no, you actually believe that you bought it, and then someone comes over and is like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna need that back. It's like, no, I bought it. It is literally that simple, right?
clarify, our concern has never been about controlling anyone's personal opinions. As we acknowledged above, our initial communication.
Our goal is not to control anyone's personal opinions. Well, I mean, it seems a little coercive to say if you do something we don't particularly like because it's a brand risk, then we're going to take away your ability to use the model that we sold you. Right? That seems a little coercive. It doesn't really seem self-protective. It seems as if, again, that like if you say something that gets us in trouble, even if that getting us in trouble is actually completely not your fault, it's some other retard that is guilting us by association, right? Then we are going to go and interfere with your ability to actually do what you are doing, right? Even though what you're doing is entirely lawful. That's actually the reason why the left kind of does this stuff, right? But anyway.
On this matter was not handled as carefully as it should have been. To be clear about our actual position, what we seek to manage is how original creative work is used in commercial context, not what any one person believes or says through their own channels. Well, that's exactly what they're trying to do. We want to reiterate this is
Okay, fair enough. I just called that out like prior to legal mindset. Fair enough.
it's always been about the use of our model, nothing more. This is our original creative work, not the buyer's original creation. Well, it's a product now. They own it, they have it, they have possession of it. Possession is 9/10 of the law, as they say. So yes, you're free to express any views through your own content, other models, voice, text, or other medium. We fully support freedom of expression. We simply ask you to not use our model to create content that harms our brand or community. Managing about how our work is used is not the same as restricting anyone's freedom of expression. Please do not confuse the two. It actually is, because you're trying to change the law involving products. To our creators, please.
Again, it also might be that, again, these people might actually be Japanese, right? Or they might actually just be not American, in which case this could explain some of the like the odd behavior here, because like in Japan, the artist is definitely put on a fucking pedestal. Yeah, I could see like a number of like Japanese JP bros siding with an artist in a conflict like this. Whereas like in the USA, it's like, well, no, I bought the thing is mine by like actual by contract, right? I literally gave you my time, productivity, my availability, or someone's belief in my work for the exchange for this, right? So no, it belongs to me. So I get to do with it what I want to do with it. And yeah, so it's like different valuation systems and whatnot.
Don't let the comments discourage you. We stand by every one of our users, and your right to use and enjoy Liz Meta is fully protected. That said, we're updating our terms of service after the fact to make these principles explicitly clear for everyone going forward. The updated terms will apply equally to all users and is standard practice across digital platforms. No, it's not. Continued use of the model will constitute acceptance. That's not acceptance at all. We'll get into that in a second. We have addressed the specific situation privately and will not be discussing individual cases publicly. We remain committed to supporting all creators who use Liz Meta in good faith. Thank you for being part of this community. Your trust means everything to us. If you have any questions or concerns, our DMs are always open. Team Shaliz. So let's talk about this.
Are these people Japanese or Spanish? I don't fucking know.
Frame it as a service. They claim a vague ongoing duty to a community. They change the terms of service after the sale.
Yeah, no, I don't think that that's legal fucking anywhere for the most part, right? What's the point of a contract if one party could unilaterally change the contract after the fact, right? Why would you ever enter into a contract that can be changed? Well, I mean, outside of fucking marriage in the United States, right? Why would you enter into a contract where the terms of the contract can be changed after you enter into the contract without both of the parties agreeing to the change of the contract, right? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a terrible incentive structure to place on this, which is why, again, it's not really legal anywhere in the world except for, again, the one place in the family courts in the United States.
They attempt to redefine what acceptance means in terms of a contract and delivery of a product. They offer nothing in exchange for the new terms. This is not standard practice. So all of these are legal violations here. So you cannot change terms and offer nothing in exchange. You can't just let their non-acceptance be acceptance. That's not a thing. You also
Yeah, you can't let non-acceptance be acceptance. I mean, I do remember one particular person who said that silence was consent. Right? It's just I'm just saying, right? That's effectively what this is, right? Not saying it. Silence it. Not just non-acceptance is acceptance. Silence is consent. That's all we're that's all we're getting at here, chat. Right? That's if you didn't understand why that was a really stupid decision to make, that's why, because this is literally the silence is consent kind of logic, right? Instead of actually getting any kind of real input or feedback, you just assume that someone else has consented to the change, even though they may not have even seen the change. And yeah, the idea of like you offer nothing in exchange for new terms is like no, because again, in a contract in general, just like in a covenant, in a contract, both parties have to offer each other something. There has to be a mutual relationship, a mutual exchange of some kind of like a obligation, right? So again, none of this makes any kind of sense. This is all really bad faith. It's structured in such a way as to, again, sound like, oh, we're just trying to be reasonable here, but it's like, no, when you actually think about it from like a property rights perspective, this is extremely bad faith, and this is extremely unprofessional.
Also can't claim an ongoing duty to the community. You're not doing anything that benefits the other party in terms of your quote unquote ongoing duty to the community. In order for something to be a service, you need to be providing an ongoing service. You needed to be doing something like continual maintenance, right? Or something else like that. If, for example, models needed maintenance and you were doing maintenance on them or delivering them certain things on a set schedule, you could terminate that set schedule. That's fine, but that's not what you're doing. You've already put this thing out there. It's already done. This is a failed analysis because of those multiple points. This is inherently a product. Upon delivery, the exchange of value is complete, and we're absolutely done here. So the models always should be sold and produced as products. If you are a VTuber and you see anywhere in any sort of terms of service, a company that is attempting to set a limited license or frame models as an ongoing service, you should never buy from that company.
I would think, but then again, I come from a different background than a lot of these people, right? I would assume that, again, it's like if I'm buying a license for a model, that's not a model worth having. It doesn't matter how good it may look, right? If I don't own the model myself upon purchase, it's not a model worth having, right? Because again, it's easy blackmail material, right? Because like what happens when the time runs out and they decide it's like, oh yeah, this has been reputationally not what we want to associate with. They could just, for example, choose to not renew your license, right? Well, we don't want to continue our relationship with you. But, well, if it's a product and I literally bought it and I own it now, the artist can go kick rocks, right? The artist can go jump in a lake. It doesn't really matter, right? Our relationship to each other has, again, effectively ended. They have given me what I gave them, my time, productivity, availability, or belief, someone's belief in me. I gave them that in exchange for this product, and unless they're going to give me that stuff back, they're not getting the model back, because I literally bought it. It's mine, right? I bought the right to it. If you don't own the right to your VTuber model and you're a VTuber, you need to really consider getting a model that actually you have the rights to. That way, again, something like this can't happen. You can't exactly be blackmailed by artists if you already have a model that you own the rights to. It is kind of that simple. I mean, I guess you could be blackmailed by artists trying to ruin your reputation. You could be blackmailed, which is its own can of worms, or you could be blackmailed by like not getting new models. But there is a burgeoning contingent of artists who are willing to work with people in the spaces that the mainstream art community doesn't want to work with. So I think that this will be a problem that will eventually resolve itself, right? So
you should avoid them like the plague. You should stay away from them because that is not the law. Now, the good news is for most everybody, including people who bought from this, they're never going to be able to enforce it. It's going to be so expensive and practically impossible to claw this back, especially since this appears to be an international thing. This appears to be something that would cross borders. That's not going to work out for them financially, fiscally, practically. It's just not going to work. So they can go eat some crow. Although
I will say, international law is a spook. International law is fake and gay. Just the UN has no real authority. Its authority is completely borrowed from other actors, and it is not actually a legitimate organization. But local governmental structures are, legitimate structures. So, they can set their own laws, and it's like when copyright laws cross borders, it gets really fucking tricky.
Love crows. So let's leave crows out of this. But I want to know what you guys think of in the comments below. What do you think about the situation and how this played out with Powder? I'll catch you on the next.
Yeah, so this is more or less what I would have expected of the legal analysis. So, if you're looking for a model, make sure that you buy the fucking model. You're not renting the goddamn thing. You're not leasing it. No, buy the fucking model, right? That way it is yours and it can't be taken away from you. But, oh god, there's more to this faggotry. Anyway, Yeah, so they're moral fagging in the background apparently. But yeah, so long story short, there is a VGen mafia. There is a ongoing conspiracy to blacklist artists and VTubers who do not toe the line. So it's an ideological blacklist. And again, just make sure you actually bought your fucking model, and that way, if someone tries to do something with you, you can tell them to go kick rocks if they try to do that stuff to you. But be aware, this is not just a thing that's affecting the new upcoming VTubers who actually are willing to use AI to augment their production, right? It's also a thing that is being used against, established VTubers. In the case of Powder, it wasn't about AI, it was about, again, the politics that she was espousing, which I still love the fucking banana and rice image. That's just really fucking funny. I would love to see this elf model in the ice outfit, not gonna lie. That would actually look really cute. That being said, it is being used, and I know this for a fact because I've talked to people who have DMs correspondence with previously established VTubers, that there are VTubers who actually would like to associate with the more sophisticated AI creators, but they can't because they're being socially blackmailed by, again, their VtuberMamas. And I don't think that that's acceptable. So that's just me personally, right? So that's all I wanted to say. Y'all have a good day, and pick your VtuberMamas wisely.